My doctor was staring at my cholesterol results, completely silent. He'd glance at my numbers from a few months ago, then back at the new ones on his screen. Finally, he looks up at me and just asks, "How did you do this? How did you lower your cholesterol so much, so fast?" He was genuinely baffled. My LDL, the bad cholesterol, had absolutely plummeted. My HDL, the good stuff, was up, and I hadn't touched a single prescription. So in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how I did it without any crazy diets or pills. I remember sitting in that exact same office just 3 months earlier, feeling that familiar knot of dread in my stomach. My numbers were going the wrong way, again. My doctor had that serious but kind voice as he explained the risks: heart disease, stroke, all the scary stuff. It's the talk so many of us have heard before. He brought up starting a statin if things didn't turn around, and I just felt defeated. For years, I thought I was doing everything right, or I was trying at least. I cut back on red meat, I switched to low-fat everything, and I ate more salads than I could count. But my progress was painfully slow. My numbers would dip a tiny bit, then creep right back up. It was frustrating and, honestly, a little terrifying. You start to feel like you're losing control over your own body. Every meal becomes a source of anxiety. You read labels until your eyes blur, trying to figure out saturated versus unsaturated fats, and you wonder if that little piece of cheese is going to be what sends you over the edge. The standard advice wasn't working for me, and the idea of being on medication for the rest of my life felt like a failure. That's when I decided I had to do something different. I went home and started digging, not just into what to avoid, but what to actively add to my life. And what I found was a combination of things that worked together in a way my body desperately needed. So, what was this game-changing combination that left my doctor so surprised? It wasn't one magic food or some miserable, restrictive diet. It was a 5-point strategy of adding specific, powerful nutrients and one key habit that rebooted my entire system. I'm going to break down every single step. First, the soluble fiber supercharge. This was the absolute bedrock of my new routine. We all hear about fiber, but there's a specific kind called soluble fiber that is a cholesterol-lowering superstar. The best way to think of it is like a sponge. When you eat it, it forms a gel in your digestive system that literally traps cholesterol and stops it from being absorbed. Your body then just gets rid of it. Research shows that getting 10 to 25 grams of soluble fiber a day can make a real dent in your LDL cholesterol. My 2 secret weapons were oatmeal and psyllium husk. I started every single morning with a bowl of plain, boring rolled oats, not the sugary instant packets. To give it a boost, I'd add a tablespoon of ground psyllium husk, which you can find anywhere. It's a super concentrated source of soluble fiber. I'd mix it into my oatmeal or just stir it into a glass of water before a meal. It's a cheap, simple change that made a world of difference. Other great sources are beans, lentils, apples, and Brussels sprouts. While it's not an overnight fix, making this one change gets the process started to help your body show bad cholesterol the door. Second, the strategic fat swap. For years, I was terrified of fat. The whole low-fat craze of the 90s really did a number on me. But it turns out the type of fat you eat is way more important than the amount. The goal is to swap out harmful saturated fats for heart-healthy monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats. Saturated fats, found in things like red meat, butter, and full-fat cheese, basically tell your liver to ramp up cholesterol production. So, I made some swaps. Instead of cooking with butter, I started using extra virgin olive oil for everything. Olive oil is loaded with monounsaturated fats that can lower your bad LDL and even help raise your good HDL. The other big swap was my go-to snack. Instead of crackers or a granola bar, I started eating a small handful of almonds and walnuts every day. Studies show that eating about 1.5 ounces of nuts like walnuts daily can help lower LDL. They're packed with healthy fats and fiber that actively work to protect your heart. This isn't about depriving yourself. It's about making smarter choices. Third, the plant sterol secret weapon. Okay, this is the part that I think really put my results into overdrive, and it's something most people don't know about. I started using plant sterols and stanols. These are natural compounds found in small amounts in plants that have a very similar structure to cholesterol. Because of this, they basically compete with cholesterol for absorption in your gut. Think of them as bouncers at a club, physically blocking cholesterol from getting into your bloodstream. The science here is solid. Getting about 2 grams of plant sterols a day can lower LDL cholesterol by up to 10%. The problem is, it's nearly impossible to get that much from food alone. So, I used foods that were fortified with them. You can find certain margarines, orange juices, and yogurts that have plant sterols added. I also found them in supplement capsules, which made it super easy to hit that 2-gram target every day. This created a powerful 1-2 punch. The fiber was grabbing cholesterol, and the sterols were blocking it. Fourth, the omega-3 upgrade. I'd heard about fish oil, but I was never consistent with it. That changed. I made it a non-negotiable rule to eat fatty fish at least twice a week. I'm talking salmon, mackerel, herring, or sardines. These fish are swimming in omega-3 fatty acids. While they don't have a huge direct impact on LDL cholesterol, they are fantastic at lowering triglycerides, which is another type of fat in your blood that can cause heart problems. Plus, every time I chose to have fish for dinner, I was automatically not having something else that might be high in saturated fat, like a steak or pork chops. It's a simple trade that helps lower your LDL, while the omega-3s work in the background to reduce inflammation and protect your heart. On days I couldn't get fresh fish, I'd take a high-quality omega-3 supplement to stay on track. Fifth, the habit that tied it all together. This is the final piece of the puzzle, and it's not something you eat. It's a habit, consistent, moderate exercise. And I'm not talking about running marathons or living at the gym. For me, it was a brisk 30-minute walk, 5 days a week. That's it. So why is this so important? Exercise is one of the best ways to raise your HDL, the good cholesterol. Think of HDL as your body's cleanup crew. It moves through your bloodstream, collects the bad LDL cholesterol, and carries it back to the liver to be flushed out. So while the fiber and plant sterols were busy reducing and blocking new cholesterol, the exercise was helping my body clear out what was already there. I really believe this synergy is what made the change so fast and dramatic. You're not just stopping the problem, you're actively reversing it. So, let's go back to my doctor's office. He pulls up my results and the numbers are just transformed. 3 months before, my total cholesterol was around 240, and my LDL, the one they really watch, was 165 mg/dl, which is firmly in the high-risk zone. Now, he's looking at a total cholesterol of 185 and an LDL of just 105 mg/dl. That's a 60-point drop in my LDL in less than 90 days. My HDL, the good stuff, had climbed from 40 to 50. He double-checked my file, saw I hadn't filled any prescriptions, and just shook his head with a grin. "Whatever you're doing," he said, "keep doing it. This is remarkable." Now, I have to be honest. A drop that big and that fast is not what everyone will experience. Dietary changes typically take 3 to 6 months to show full effects, and my results were definitely on the high end of what's typical. But it was the first time I left that office feeling proud and empowered instead of worried. It was proof that making these deliberate, natural changes worked. So that's my story. That's the 5-point plan I used to take control of my health. If you found this helpful, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you don't miss the next video. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. What have you tried on your own health journey? And now, for the most important thing I'll say in this entire video, I am not a doctor. This is my personal story and my experience. Please, talk to your own physician or a qualified healthcare provider before you make any big changes to your diet, exercise, or supplements. It is so important to have professional guidance that's tailored to you. The biggest lesson I learned from all this is that we have so much more power over our health than we're led to believe. For so long, I felt like my high cholesterol was just a bad hand I was dealt. But by being strategic, by focusing on adding powerful foods instead of just on restriction, I made a change so profound it shocked my own doctor. It takes commitment, but that feeling of taking back control, it's worth every single step. You can do this.